Good morning. Welcome to the candidate forum for the county supervisor role. The candidates in alphabetical order are Flo Kofer, Eric Guerra, Deborah Ortiz, and Tim Riley. This forum is sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County and the Sacramento Metro Cable Television Commission. I am Lexi Tesh, a member of the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County and the moderator for this forum. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization of women and men. We work together to encourage informed and active participation in government. The League does not support or oppose political candidates or parties. However, we are a political organization and we do, after careful study, take positions on ballot measures and legislation. If you are interested in public policy or just want to support our volunteer work, we invite you to join us. The format for this forum will be as follows. Candidates will have 1 minute for opening statement. They will have 1 minute to answer questions in rotating order. Finally, speakers will have 1 minute for a closing statement. The timer is League volunteer Evelyn, and Evelyn will give you 30 seconds left and the stop sign. We begin with an opening statement from Flo Kofer.
Hello, my name is Dr. Flo Kofer, and I am running for Sacramento County Supervisor because this moment requires expertise, courage, and skill. I am a public health professional with over 2 decades of experience leading programs, reducing the infant mortality rate across the state, and also making sure that birth control was included when the Affordable Care Act was passed for free for women across the state. I am running for a county supervisor because I understand in this moment that our problems didn't start with Trump and they don't end there either. We have to make sure that we are addressing the public health needs in our community, that we are running our county, which has a $9.2 billion budget, in a way that reflects our values, and that we are meeting the moment when it comes to the environment, when it comes to protecting the people in our community, and when it comes to addressing our most pressing challenges around homelessness, as well as our provision of social services, which is the responsibility of the county. I am ready to lead in a way that our county needs, and I would love to be able to earn your vote.
Next up, Eric Guerra.
Thank you. I love and I'm grateful for Sacramento. See, I grew up as an immigrant farm worker with my family working in the fields. 12 hours a day in the sun. We know what it's like to work for poverty wages, and we know what it's like to feel hunger. When I moved to Sacramento, I found myself in my car in a parking lot on Del Paso Boulevard. And that first dreadful summer, I got all too familiar with feeling unsafe. But even with that first difficult year, Sacramento's given me an opportunity to build a career, to start a family with 2 energetic young kids, and to finally own a home. Every family should have that opportunity. I have a proven record and experience and the lived experience to get things done. Just take a drive down Stockton Boulevard and you'll see hundreds of new affordable housing, mental health drug treatment center, new local jobs, and local businesses. I did it by bringing people together. I changed the direction there, and I'll change the direction of the county. I would be honored to earn your vote.
Deborah Ortiz.
Thank you for the League for hosting once again the opportunity for the voters to assess all of our strengths and opportunities. I was the vice president of the country's largest Planned Parenthood affiliate. I led the California Primary Care Association's team to implement Obamacare. Now, the Trump administration is closing Planned Parenthood clinics and remains hell-bent on destroying Obamacare. As a state senator, I created California's Department of Public Health, and lives were saved during COVID. I wrote the laws that made stem cell research legal. Now many diseases and cancers are being cured, but the Trump administration is allowing Robert Kennedy to tear down our public health systems and shut down cancer research. Today, I serve as the president of the local community college system. By graduating more nurses, other allied healthcare workforce, more than ever before, we are improving hospital staffing and increasing access to primary care clinics. On the Board of Supervisors, I can improve public health and protect all that I have worked for. Thank you.
And Tim Riley.
My name is Tim Riley. I propose Sacramento County builds 3 educational buildings. Sacramento dorms will be a 5,000-room homeless dormitory. Each room will be supplied with self-study tutorials. We need a 5,000-cell bigger jail. The new jail will have a study hall staffed with tutors. Sacramento Community College will offer a required course titled Ethical Citizenship. Tomorrow, the Board of Supervisors will vote on the Upper West Side development. Short of developing on top of a cemetery, developing on top of a future nature preserve is the worst location the county could approve. As you can see, I value nature, humanity, protection, and education. If you share these values, then elect me to be a member on our Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, candidates. Now we will move on to the questions which were solicited in advance by the community. For the first question, we will start with Flo. What do you consider the most significant environmental issues in our county, and why?
In the county of Sacramento, I think some of the most important environmental issues are our lack of action towards our climate action plan. We are facing some significant climate challenges when it comes to our land use, when it comes to air quality, when it comes to protecting the environment. And time again, we have put together plans, good plans, that say we should protect these areas, we should develop here and not there, we should protect our waterways, here are the things we need in the future. And then as quickly and as celebratorily as we say, hey, this is great and we should do this, we also shelve them and don't take any action on them. That is a dereliction of our duty, because it means that we are not taking the necessary action, even though we've outlined problems and also outlined solutions. It's also a colossal waste of our staff and our volunteers throughout the community's time. And so I want to make sure that when we put plans together to be able to make sure we're in a better future position, we don't shelve those plans and we're actually taking action on them every single year, building them into our budgets, building them into our programming to make sure that we're protecting our environment.
Eric?
The number one issue affecting all of our county, not even just our county, but our region, is how we address land use. The fact is, the sprawling efforts that are affecting our county lead to more traffic and congestion. This is why I have a record of building infill housing. And in fact, if you go down Stockton Boulevard, the housing that is being built is all electric as well, along a transit line, so that you have to use less of a vehicle, reducing our emissions. It's that planned approach to looking at all of our commercial corridors where we can take vacant lots and actually build them into housing in a place where we can reduce our environmental impact on our entire region. We have to function as a region. I've taken that leadership on, and now you see that happening along other commercial corridors. I'll take that along the entire county. As the chair of the Air District, my record has been so strong that we've actually met our air quality attainment record from the federal government, but we need to go beyond that. With a kid who just had his first asthma attack, I'll continue to fight for air quality issues, but it'll only happen when we match housing with transportation to address air quality.
Deborah?
I think the most significant environmental issue we have in our region is the absence of leadership and the absence of will. We have sufficient federal and state laws. We have our own climate action plan. It is simply a lack of leadership or willingness to adhere to that. We have seen our Board of Supervisors, unfortunately, disregard laws, policies, their own policies that address Endangered Species Act, habitat conservation. Coyote Creek was an amazing disgrace for our region, in which they approved the loss of nearly, I want to say, 3,700 heritage trees. We have, hopefully we'll have the state and federal government, perhaps not the federal government given the times, step in and intervene what is likely to occur tomorrow with the Upper West Side. Supervisors have all the laws, they have all the regulatory oversight, they simply have chosen to disregard it.
Tim?
On the east coast of the Sacramento River is planned a mile-wide habitat corridor starting at what is proposed to be the Upper West Side development, going north all the way through Sutter County. This habitat wildlife corridor is being funded by taxing the new developments in the Natomas Basin area. Funds are being used to purchase farms within the wildlife corridor, and a conservation agency is restoring those lands to their natural habitat. The American River Parkway is a Sacramento gem. Likewise, the Sacramento River Wildlife Corridor in the future could be an equal wildlife gem.
For the next question, we will start with Eric. After building support, signatures are now being collected to put ranked choice voting for city elections and the half sales tax for safer Sac streets and affordable transit on the city ballot. Will you be supporting or opposing these measures?
On the ranked choice voting, I believe that it's important to reduce the cost of elections. And as a candidate myself, it's also very difficult when you have a family, when a full year-long election. And that becomes an impact not only to your spouse, but to your kids, to the taxpayers, to everyone. On the issue of the Safer Streets measure, yes, I was one of the first signatories. We have a significant problem with all the potholes, the impact to drivers, the impact to safety. We need to make sure that our roads are safer. I bike with my kids to school in the morning. It is dangerous. Now, as a council member, I've taken on the issue to improve crosswalks, make better crossings. But this is just a small amount of money that we have with the quick builds. We need to have a direct investment in making sure that we have safe roads and safe streets for everyone, for every age that needs to cross the street to get to the bus stop in a positive transit system.
Deborah?
Let me take the half-cent sales tax first. I think I'm one of the few of the candidates that address concerns, if not outright opposition to it. One, it's a general tax, so there's no guarantee that it will be actually adhered to and used for the purposes intended. Two, it would bring our tax rate, our sales tax rate, up to 9.25% in our region. When you're two parents with starting out as service workers and your combined family income is $95,000 a year and you have 3 children you're buying shoes and clothes for, I'm sorry, that's a huge impact on working families. Finally, on the ranked choice voting, I am open to it. I have some concerns. It has had some odd results in the past in New York. It elected a mayor, not the current one, but the one before, that wasn't exactly, in my estimation, the most progressive of mayors. However, consolidating costs and impact to counties is a compelling argument, and so I am open to that.
Tim?
Regarding ranked choice voting, well, I haven't modeled that out, so I can't offer an opinion on it. Regarding the one-half sales tax, well, it's a citizen's initiative, and personally, I'm for it. It would be in my self-interest that Sacramento County expands its bike lanes. I'm an active cyclist, and I use my bicycle every opportunity I can to do my errands. But I'm not in a position to enforce that on the community as a whole. So I will vote for it, but I'm not taking a position whether citizens should vote for it or against it.
Flo?
When it comes to sales taxes, they are regressive, and so there's always a concern. And as the former 4-term chair of the Measure U committee, I shared the same concerns about affordability, which is one of the major issues in our region, as well as, where the dollars are going to go. But thankfully, this is not a general sales tax. It's actually a directed tax that's going to go towards transportation issues. And so in consultation with the Poor People's Campaign and some of the other people who are thinking about affordability issues, I am supportive. And I'm supportive because transportation is one of the the top 3 issues that people who have the lowest incomes are challenged by, and by actually making sure the dollars don't end up in a fraud situation like we had with Measure U, where we promised people during a campaign that we were going to spend dollars in one way and then spent them completely differently and broke the trust. We don't have the option for our mayor and council to be able to break the trust with the voters because the dollars are going to go specifically to one place. In terms of ranked choice voting, there are always pros and cons of any system, but it is true that dark money in our politics, when people are taking IEs, are challenging, and so I do want to make sure that we are lowering the cost of these elections and also making sure that people have an opportunity, and so I've signed on to allow it to be on the ballot.
For the next question, we will begin with Deborah. Since the county has 140,000 approved housing units in greenfield areas per SACOG, would you support a moratorium on approving new proposals?
I'm sorry, could you ask the question again? I'm not sure I understood the question.
Yeah. Since the county has 140,000 approved housing units in greenfield areas per SACOG, would you support a moratorium on approving new proposals?
I think we need to be smart about new housing, affordable housing. We are well beyond increasing our housing stock. If we have in the pipeline appropriate housing in appropriate areas of our region that do not interfere with environmental and are within the urban land use, urban planning area, then I would support that. It's hard to project what a moratorium would look like, given that we have such a huge demand for housing. I would want to see where those future housing plans are located to ensure that they comply with all environmental laws and our urban service boundary and our agreement with the city not to build outside of the urban service boundary. So to speak to an moratorium on housing, I would support a moratorium if it's outside of sound land use planning areas. But it's hard to talk about moratoriums on housing when we have such a demand for housing stock in our region.
Tim?
In 1990, Sacramento County had 1 million residents. Now we have 1.6 million residents. Everyone needs a bed, a room, a shelter. The supply and demand curve for housing is skewed towards housing becoming expensive. The population is increased, but the housing supply has not kept up. So housing costs are going up. The market reaction is to build more housing. The choices are suburbs in the Natomas region, or investors are infilling, converting city factories and warehouses into apartment communities. The market is taking place, and it is satisfying the housing requirements.
Flo?
Can I just clarify? This question is about whether or not we would support a moratorium on greenfield housing development, not housing development broadly.
Yes, to my understanding. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Since the county has 140,000 approved housing units in greenfield areas per SACOG, would you support a moratorium on approving new proposals?
Okay, so I'm interpreting this as being about greenfield development because there's 2 different ways to interpret this question. And so what I'm looking at is we have 140,000 units that have already been improved in places where that are going to have significant environmental impact and maybe sprawl. And so I want more infill development. I want to be able to make sure we're building inside of our urban services boundary and that we are making sure that we have more housing. But I don't want to do it at the cost of our environment. And these are sort of the zero-sum games that come up a lot spot when we have to make these decisions. One of the challenges is that we have financing that often stalls projects after they're approved from actually being able to move forward. And also we need to streamline the approval process so that we can actually get these units built. And so those are things that are under the responsibility of the county. I am a strong proponent of having a public bank so that our dollars don't go to private shareholders who are undermining our climate action plan, but actually to a bank that's held locally where all of those tax dollars can be reinvested in our local communities and we can build more affordable housing. And so that is what I am in support of. And so I would say we don't need more greenfield development, but we do need more housing development.
Eric?
I have consistently focused on making sure that we use our land that's available. And this is exactly why when you go down Stockton Boulevard, you'll see what was vacant lots now are active places for housing that are opening up, that have already opened up, and more will be opened up. And the county needs to focus on that as well. There are many unplanned housing developments that are on our commercial corridors where we can improve our bus line and our bus service. When we do that, we have faster headways when a bus can come every 10 to 15 minutes. And the county not only should do that to support the city in this effort, because when the county does that, it also gets its share of property tax revenue to support the vital services. But it should also help the other cities and the other parts of the region to help their commercial corridors. That's how we're going to have a better, realistic transit system, was when we focus our energy on that. And the county can do that. So I would consider, the issues of a moratorium, but not if it affects the ability for us to actually build in infill areas. There is much more land we can use today.
For the next question, we will begin with Tim. Natoma's farmland is relied upon for species protected by the Natoma's Basin Habitat Conservation Plan. Developers want to build 30,000 houses on this land, even though the county has approved 62,000 houses to be built elsewhere. Do you support the proposals by the Upper West Side, Providence, and Grand Park?
Of course not. The Upper West Side development is located in what is supposed to become a nature preserve. The developers somehow have hijacked the decision makers here in Sacramento County to force the issue to a vote tomorrow. This is a critical junction in our county's environmental planning. The developers should withdraw their plan and seek farmlands elsewhere. The Hawk Zone, what's called the Swainson's Hawk Zone, is going to be a Sacramento gem, and it needs to begin where the Upper West Side development community is being planned. So definitely I'm against it.
Flo?
This is exactly why I'm a corporate-free candidate, because I want everyone in Sacramento County to know that when decisions come before the board, I'm making them in the best interest of our community and not because someone paid me to be able to take a certain position. I am strongly opposed to us violating our climate action plans and the many other provisions we put in place to be able to say where we should and should not build, and rewarding developers for buying the farmland for cheap because they're not supposed to develop there and that devalued the land, and then say they will buy politicians and force them to be able to make these decisions. This is part of what's wrong. This is part of what's threatening our county overall, but especially our environmental issues, because we keep rolling over and playing dead when these developers come and they do things that are against our best interests. So no, I am not going to vote against the people of Sacramento County. I'm going to vote in favor of, we can do two things at once. We can build, and we can build in places that are smart and don't destroy our environment and put us in a worse place when it comes to public health.
Eric?
I have publicly opposed the Upper West Side and voted also to send a message to stop and oppose the Upper West Side project as well. And this is an issue, again, of our housing demand, which is why I focus significantly on creating not only a local strategy, but a citywide, and I'll take a countywide strategy on building more infill housing. Also on building more duplexes, triplexes, and quadruplexes, making a diverse variety of options so that everyone has an opportunity to start and owning a home at wherever their income level is. I also have taken on the approach and my strong environmental record of working with farmers to protect farmland. In my role as a regional leader and as a state-appointed official on the environment, I've taken the opportunity to help farmers and try to address the challenges they face so that they're not pulling out their walnut orchards, and that making sure that that land for agriculture stays valuable and not cheap. If we don't address our housing challenges on the infill side, we will always be addressing this issue as we go on.
Deborah.
I think that's the one position we have all been fairly consistent on, is that we're opposed to the Upper West Side, Providence, as well as Grand Park that is in the pipeline. Sadly, the county is proceeding tomorrow, likely to support that project, likely as a result of hearing the public comments among all of us here too, that if we are elected that we would oppose it. It violates everything that federal, state, their own Natomas Basin Habitat Conservation Plan. It violates, every principle of access to water, in which the city has made it very clear that they will not provide access to water either on the Upper West Side, or we have issues on Grand Park regarding wells that may indeed be contaminated. So there are so many reasons not to do this, but it sadly appears to be going to be approved tomorrow. So it takes leadership going forward to prevent that happening in other projects.
For the next question, we will begin with Flo. Do you support the Army Corps of Engineers' plan to remove hundreds of trees from the American River Parkway to strengthen the levee? Why or why not?
Yeah, this is one of those questions that brings up the same challenges we just talked about in the last one. So I have been on the record saying that I am really, really angry that we even have to make this decision because of land use issues. We should not have built houses this close to the river, but they're there now, and we don't want to threaten people's health and well-being. At our last League of Women Voters Forum, I talked about the cost and the fact that, given that we have almost 200,000 people who might be losing their Medi-Cal, there are going to be some really challenging decisions we have to make as a county, and I'm not sure that working on this is going to be one of those priorities, and I wanted to be honest about that. But then yesterday, when we were at Earth Day, hosted by ECOS, I had some conversations with some folks about actually there are some other proposals, and it may actually be that the upfront costs are higher when it comes to the trees, but the overall cost of being able to do something other than what has been proposed is actually lower. And so if that's the case, I want to see those proposals in front of me because I don't want to tear these trees down. I would prefer us to be able to actually preserve them, and if there's an opportunity to do that with cost effectiveness, that's the way we should go.
Eric?
Well, number one, safety first. We have to have strong levees. And I have neighbors who are also on the Army Corps of Engineers, so I also know how much they care about the environment. What I don't agree with is the public process and the way it was. I would have loved to have seen what are the alternatives. And as an engineer, you learn that every option or every challenge has multiple alternatives. But I'm an electrical engineer, so I'm not going to question a civil engineer. But what I would have liked to have seen is the public process that shows what those alternatives are. I have seen some success in what's happening in the regrowth, but it is always hurtful to see when a 300-year oak tree is taken down. But the number one thing that we should focus when it's our levees is safety for the public first.
Deborah?
Yeah, this is that classic conundrum. We are the highest risk, one of the highest risk areas in the country. We have two rivers that our city was founded on, and decisions made decades, centuries ago to place housing not necessarily earlier along the Sacramento River, now the American River in question, where the Army Corps of Engineers project, right around River Park, up along Sac State. Those homes have been there since the 40s and 50s. So we absolutely have to protect life and property, and these are very real risks. I remember, I think it was 1986, in which they were proposing to break those levees to save the downstream part of Sacramento, and risk those homes and those families in that area to prevent greater damage in the deeper part of Sacramento. So Sadly, we are at a place where we have to protect life and property, as well as understanding the Army Corps of Engineers is a federal entity that we have little to no ability, even if we litigate, to stop that process.
Tim.
As a tree hugger, it saddens me that we have to remove trees. However, trees do grow roots, and roots will go into the levee, and that will make the levee unstable. It would be a calamity if we were to have a levee break. So I would, with sadness, have to go with the Army Corps of Engineers, good faith decision making.
For the next question, we will begin with Eric. The federal administration has violated civil rights and liberties for our immigrant communities. What changes in our county, if any, do you believe are necessary to ensure immigration enforcement policies and practices are lawful and accountable to the communities they impact?
Well, as a person who grew up as an immigrant, an undocumented one, who our family were faced, unfortunately, deportation, I didn't have to be an attorney to know that we needed to have legal defense for our folks. So number one, our county should join and participate in the Fuel Network and making sure that people have access to representation in their case. They're taxpayers. They are providing our workforce here. Many of them are homeowners and business owners. Second, we need to make sure that we take the appropriate measures so our facilities, like our child care centers and local areas, do not fall into the situation where we saw in other parts of the country where children were used as bait to get parents, and making sure we have appropriate lockdown procedures. And I'm already doing that in my role of starting the county-wide task force on child care to make sure that they know their rights. And then finally, we need to continue to be aggressive. The county should join in federal lawsuits when the federal government is overstepping on their rights and the sovereignty of local cities and counties.
Deborah?
I've said this before, it's horrific. Some of us feel this on a very personal level because it's our family, it's our cousins, we look at our grandparents who only gave to this country and did not take back. When I was the CEO of a local refugee resettlement agency during Trump 1, we got $5 million in grants to do immigration legal services program. It was horrific then. It's worse now because refugees are now being stripped of their rights and fearing the knock at the door. What can the county do? They can engage in a meaningful pact between the city, both sheriffs and police department, that vow to work together to preclude and to indeed intervene when people are taken off the streets, to share no information from the county at all with immigration officials, to create a response team that when these situations happen, that there's immediately on-site observation, investigation in partnership with attorneys, ACLU and others, and in the end, just do what is right, the right and ethical thing to do.
Tim?
Unfortunately, the supremacy clause of the Constitution puts the federal government on top of state or local jurisdictions. We don't have any governmental tools available to prevent the bad acts of our federal representatives. What we can do, however, is bring awareness to the sweeps. Secondly, if there are incarcerations or deportations, the county can take efforts to return green card holders, asylum seekers, and refugees, those that have a right and deserve to be in the United States. We have an obligation as a government to do efforts to return them to their families.
Flo?
Yeah, as the 15th, generation descendant of people who were human trafficked to the United States, I don't derive my morality from the law. And so what is happening right now, especially when it comes to immigration, is wrong and it is immoral, and we need to speak that out loud very plainly. So, as the chair of the Measure U committee for the city, we championed every single year the inclusion of the Fuel Network funding in the city's budget because we understood the importance of that long before, we were thinking about, what was going to happen with a second Trump administration. And so it is a real, disappointment that the county has not joined in to being able to fund that, because this is a regional issue. There also are questions right now about info sharing. Those questions have happened when it comes to reproductive health services. There's a lot when it comes to policing and especially our sheriff's department. And so our county needs to have clear policies to make sure we're not sharing information and putting people at risk. And then we also need to make sure we have county plans and policies around what happens if ICE shows up, about what we are willing and not willing to do, and making sure that people are backed up on that, so we're not leaving our staff to have to regulate this on their own.
Starting with Deborah, do you support the recommendations that the county's Climate Emergency Mobilization Task Force presented to the supervisors? Why or why not?
I haven't seen that report, so I'm not going to speak to the details. I have confidence, however, that if their advice is called based on aligning with a climate action plan that the county has in place, that it's consistent with state and federal laws, I believe it should comply with state and federal laws and perhaps go beyond and make recommendations to strengthen and to illustrate how to implement effectively and aggressively our climate action plan, which should incorporate state and federal laws and perhaps even go beyond if we have more resources in our region to exceed that. So I would support that in concept, not having read it in detail.
Tim?
I, too, am not familiar with the Climate Emergency Action Plan. However, it's very clear that climate change is an existential crisis. Throughout, I would say, for hundreds of thousands of years, the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere has never exceeded 300 parts per million. Then industrialization all of a sudden caused, in 1950, the carbon dioxide fluctuation to start increasing exponentially. We're currently at 420 parts per million. The last time the Earth experienced 420 parts per million, Florida was underwater and the South Carolina coast was 60 miles inland. This needs, as an institution, governments need to be aware of this and take actions to stop it now.
Flo?
The value of having an epidemiologist on the Board of Supervisors is that this is my wheelhouse. So I led a project throughout the state looking at emergency response, in particular as it relates to climate emergencies. And one of the most shocking things that I learned is that most of our emergency plans that have been developed have not been updated since before the iPhone was invented. So we are behind the curve in terms of the tools that we have available. So I am supportive of the emergency action plan. It has been developed by both county staff as well as community partners, and it is an opportunity for us to take a proactive approach to invest in prevention for the things that it's not a matter of if, but when they are going to happen, especially because we are so behind the ball on some of the environmental protections that we should have put in place that could have impacted our environment. And so we do need to not only make sure that we are implementing it, but we need to also make sure that we are setting aside resources for it, because there will always be immediate concerns. But if we keep putting this off, we're not going to be in a place where we're ready when the emergency happens, and that is one of the hardest things that impacts our communities.
Eric?
The county plays a strong leadership role. It must play a strong leadership role, not just only for its unincorporated its responsibilities, but with its cities within the county. The county is also the significant hardest seat for our regional body. And so this is where we need to make sure that the county is working with the other cities also to address those environmental impacts. And we need a supervisor that knows how to bring people to the table and bring them together. When I chaired the Air District, the longest serving chair of the Air District, we were able to have an aggressive plan to meet our federal air quality standard. And nobody thought we would ever meet attainment for ozone or smog. But now we've met that standard, and now we're going to meet our PM standard. We did that by bringing people to the table and figuring out what can we actually do versus just lofty goals or ideas. Let's get to the table. And I, as a county supervisor, I'm going to bring that leadership to make a strong plan. Not only that, but to bring our other cities and jurisdictions forward, because that's the only way we're going to make a significant change in our environment.
For the next question, we will begin with Tim. Light rail is heavily subsidized and does not serve most of Sacramento County. What would you do to improve public transportation throughout the county?
Well, public transportation is funded by a special assessment tax, and it's separate from the county budget appropriations process. Of course, it is, well, obviously, it is underfunded. My experience is using public transportation, well, were disappointing. What the county can do is find funds to appropriate to subsidize public transportation. It's a tall order, but all I can do is agree that the problem exists and efforts need to be made to fund it.
Flo?
One of the challenges is, again, our lack of planning, because we decided to put the light rail in where the old, streetcars already existed, and we had the setbacks and all of that, but we didn't actually think about where people lived and where we wanted them to go. And so there is the joke about how our light rail did until we moved the arena downtown. Our light rail didn't go anywhere that people needed to go, like Cal Expo, the airport, right? Our major transportation centers. It goes by the 19th Street Safeway, but doesn't stop. And so part of what we need to do is think about what we have resources to do right now. We have resources to be able to invest in a strong protected bus lane area so that we are making sure throughout the region that the buses are not sitting in the same traffic as cars, because that undermines the strength of our public transit. I would like to be on the RT board if elected to this position, because I want to think about how we can have responsive routes. I grew up in a place that had responsive routes where when kids were going to school in the morning, the routes were more heavily concentrated there. We now all have, the opportunity to be able to be responsive in this way, and so we need to be thinking about transportation for 2026 and not 1976.
Eric?
Number one issue for making sure that transit is function is also how we build out our infill, because that's the only way we're going to make the metrics work for public transit. And when we do that, we also help out the suburban areas that have less inflow. But that's the purpose of making sure that what we're like doing on Stockton Boulevard, where we're increasing the housing and making transit work better, and also bringing in our other counties. You need a supervisor who's going to be able to bring in all of the other jurisdictions, and that's where I have experience. I created the actual MOU for the city, county, and regional transit to create the first rapid protected bus lane. We're already moving in that effort. Second, we need to build the Truxville Bridge so that we have a multimodal network across the river, because that's the only way we're going to be able to get public transit and light rail out to the Natomas area, and making sure that they also have access. Everyone last night at a meet and greet told me how they wish we had a light rail to the airport. How can we make sure that we're not just driving, so we're parking our car out in the airport?
Deborah?
So this is a challenge. Light rail is indeed highly subsidized versus other modes of public transportation through our RT system. Buses that unfortunately don't serve the most needy areas. So that is the challenge, is that light rail is incredibly expensive. It's become increasingly expensive, but it's a commitment and it's a priority that we need to sustain and stick to. The fact that we have not gone out to the airport yet is really a shame. We need to rely on state and federal subsidies. The times are difficult in the federal government right now, but I'm confident we're going to get to a point where we're going to be able to draw down federal subsidies to continue light rail, and as well as state revenues at some point are going to come back to be able, but it's an expensive endeavor. We have to do it, as well as sustaining our bus systems for the most needy areas. But the fact that we are building more parking structures at the airport while we are not getting light rail out there is just the kind of contradiction that needs to change in our county.
Starting with Flo, many feel the county has not done its job in dealing with the homeless crisis. Do you agree, and how would you change that? What solutions do you offer, both short and long term?
Yeah, this is a great question. Yes, we have not done what is needed when it comes to the county. There is work being done, but not certainly enough. One of the things that we need to do first and foremost is make sure that we are not a complicated bureaucracy that makes it really difficult for people to get the services that they need. And so there are too many ways that people have to navigate, and one of the things I want to do is streamline that so that we can get people in and get them all of the services they need. The other thing that our county has done repeatedly is not draw down eligible funds. We have a problem, yet we didn't take all of our Mental Health Services Act dollars. We don't take down all of our CalAIM dollars, which are the wraparound dollars for homelessness for people who are on Medi-Cal. That is a problem because we can't have a problem this big and then also not take all of the eligible resources that we have. Also, our county is opposing being able to work together with all of the cities within its county, and that's a real problem as well. When I was the chair of the Measure U Committee, we met with the Police Review Commission. We were just commissions, but we understood that we had to meet together. And so the fact that that's not happening regularly is a real problem, and it's something that I commit to making sure will happen as a collaborative body if elected your next supervisor.
Eric?
The county must work with all of the entities. This is a problem for everyone, every jurisdiction in our area here, but the county has to do a better job. And we need a county supervisor who actually has experience of bringing the county along and actually getting things done. I opened up a 175-bed manufactured home center for people who are coming off the street with on-site behavioral health service. That's a city, county, and state with a nonprofit provider. We also need a county that's going to be working with other entities to look at the very big issue of mental health and drug addiction. The problem we have right now is so many people on the street can't even manage themselves, let alone manage their drug addiction. So we need the county to be working with the cities on how we respond in outreach, making sure they go to a crisis receiving center that deals with their mental health, which is something I helped vote and fund here as well, and expand that. We're building out 32 beds right now. It'll be 250 beds of an acute mental health addiction center for people who can't even manage their time on the street. We see that tragedy every day. The county needs to be a better partner.
Deborah?
The solution to homelessness is twofold. It's services and it's shelter. And our region has not done enough simply because they have not. This is a solution that should have happened a decade ago. And what I would propose we do is you front load the services, mental health, substance use, certainly behavioral health and other services, and you do that by front-loading caseworkers, doubling the number of caseworkers, training them to go out in the community, getting people into shelter, out of the elements, and making a commitment on the Board of Supervisors to sustain the funding of those even in difficult times. We don't have the luxury of delaying any longer. The whole discussion about collaboration with the city and county, I'm confident that whomever is elected to this board is going to be a change maker regarding their relationship with the city, and that we all have an obligation to do it.
Tim?
Sacramento County should build, manage, staff, and supply Sacramento dorms. The dormitory will have an environment of education. It will have a study hall staff with tutors, and the tutors will have social science degrees. The location for the dorms has been picked for us. The old courthouse is now for sale, and it should be taken off the market, and Sacramento dorms should be located on that city block. By putting all the health services and all the social services in one place, economies of scale and economies of scope will be achieved, and it'll be most efficient solution. The most important component of Sacramento dorms is the residents. The voices inside their heads will be occupied with academics, and that is a much more healthy environment for our entire community.
The next question, we will begin with Eric. Sacramento County has increased enforcement and penalties for illegal fireworks. Residents have proposed a follow the source approach, where enforcement efforts prioritize identifying where illegal fireworks are purchased and distributed, not just who uses them. Do you support this strategy? And as a supervisor, how would you address both the local impacts and the upstream supply of illegal fireworks?
I do support follow the source, and in fact, I'm leading with that at the city level. I wrote the first firework ordinance to go after the illegal fireworks that was happening mostly in the South area, and it's actually made dramatic improvements. And we talk about that every year, that unfortunately, one of our important holidays, 4th of July or New Year's, is always taken up by someone using illegal fireworks, causing fires to roofs, kids being injured, and not only that, but going after not only the users, but the providers and the profiteers. We went after a person that was right across the street from Hiram Johnson, who had hundreds of pounds of illegal fireworks. You know, I grew up in the country in Esparto and saw what happened there. We have to make a serious attempt at going after the source, but also reminding our neighbors that they have a responsibility, and there will be a penalty for not being responsible and good neighbors and using illegal fireworks. Everyone has a responsibility in a safe neighborhood.
Deborah?
This is a public safety issue. It's not just an inconvenience or traumatized animals and persons with PTSD. The fact that the county is moving towards a more aggressive enforcement and considering, as they say, upstream, it'll take law enforcement, it'll take collaboration between the city and county. It requires extensive penalties and fines, but it's going to cost to do this enforcement. I'm all in support of it. I can't believe we're this far along and there's still not a policy as aggressive as particularly identifying the distributors and sellers all illegal and not looking at potentially wobblers or criminal penalties for those sales. It's long overdue. In addition to the traumatizing problems and neighborhoods going through this, there's major fire risks in our region as we face more and more drought. This is a comprehensive public safety and health and safety issue. So I look forward to embracing a more aggressive policy.
Tim?
Every 4th of July, I empathize with our firefighting community in the stresses that what should be a celebration of our nation's birthday turns into a stressful evening. There are laws in place preventing fireworks from shooting up into the air, for example. They are flagrantly not being abided by, and it's disappointing that our community should relish our Constitution and our freedoms, and instead of using the excuse to generate what is potentially a very harmful situation.
Flo?
In the same way that the war on drugs should never have been focused on people who were using drugs, this is an example of where we always needed to go upstream. And this is the benefit, of having someone with a public health background, because we don't think first about how do we respond to a problem. We think about how do we get to the source and how do we prevent it. And so that is my approach, not just on this issue, but on lots of issues. And so, yes, I am in support of following the source, because these illegal fireworks are not supplying themselves. Someone is selling them, and that is a great place to be able to stop the pipeline in. But it also speaks to our need to look at this for a broad range of issues that come before our county and say, what is the root cause of this issue, and not just treat the symptoms, but get to the source.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we are out of time for more questions, so we will move on to closing statements. Closing statements will begin with Tim.
In my 65 years, I've developed two important skills. Number one, I can articulate context and nuance. Number two, I am not a group thinker. Instead, I'm a critical thinker. You don't want a representative who joins the groupthink of the supervisor culture. Instead, you want a critical thinker who will transform the culture to value education.
Deborah?
Thank you to the League for giving us, again, an opportunity to educate the voters of Sacramento. As I shared in my opening, I was a vice president of the country's largest Planned Parenthood affiliate. I led the California Primary Care Association team to implement Obamacare. And as a state senator, I created the California Department of Public Health and wrote the law that made stem cell research legal. We are indeed in a battle with the Trump administration. The county will have a $100 million deficit as a result, a structural deficit, just this next cycle as a result of the Trump administration costs. Our safety net for Medi-Cal, public health, food stamps is being eviscerated. Our refugee immigrant communities and working class poor families are at risk. I will be the champion with the experience, with specific legislative accomplishments and implementation at Planned Parenthood, the California Primary Care Association, and a CEO of a refugee resettlement agency that will govern responsibly.
Eric?
I love Sacramento, and what makes Sacramento so beautiful is its diverse neighborhoods, its diverse communities, its rich history, and that's what got me into this. I started off as a neighborhood leader and bringing people together to solve issues, what we saw. The tragedy on Stockton Boulevard with so much human trafficking. I worked with Community Against Sexual Harm to go after and write the human trafficking ordinance. I looked at issues of housing, knowing myself what it's like not to have housing. And I made sure that I focused on policies that were going to look at all of the issues, housing, transportation, the cost of childcare, and created a standing meeting now where all of our childcare providers are working together so we can also look at workforce opportunities for families. I'm a person who brings people together, and I will take that approach to the county so that our county leads with neighborhoods, and then it leads on solutions that are based on our community of what they need today and thinking about what the legacy is for our kids in the future. I would be honored to be your county supervisor.
Flo?
What our county needs right now is someone who's able to lead through instability, to have difficult conversations, and to believe that more is possible for our county. I got into public health because my father died at 47 from heart disease due to smoking, and I committed my life to making sure that we had healthy communities. As I mentioned earlier, we can't blame all of the county's problems on the Trump administration because we've watched our county mismanage the jail, homelessness, COVID-19, and land use. But now on top of that, we do have a hostile federal administration, and we have to take bold action to meet the challenges at the same time. And none of that happens without collaboration. I've built my career on that. Public health has limited authority and almost no money, so we have to work with people. And that's how we were able to lower infant mortality by 14% across the state and also make sure that the ACA included birth control for free for women. I've served on active transportation, Measure U, the Mayor's Climate Commission, and the Sheriff's oversight for our county. And I'm ready to work with every single member of this board to make sure that Sacramento County is well served. We have to make sure we're taking care of our unincorporated counties, but we also have to make sure that we have people with a background who are ready to lead, and that is me, and that's why I'd love to earn your vote.
This concludes our forum. Thank you, candidates, for running for office and being here to answer questions from voters. So, voters, look for that important pink envelope and return your ballot. The sooner, the better. You can return it by mail or put it in a special drop box anywhere in the county. Locations are listed in the pink envelope. You can also vote in person anywhere in the county. Locations are in the pink envelope. Now, you are a more informed voter, and we hope you will pass on what you have learned. You can also pass on a recording of this forum. A YouTube link to the recording will be available at our website, lwvsacramento.org, after the ballots go out and on the website for Sacramento Metro Cable Television Channel 14. Thanks to League volunteers and the wonderful team here at Sacramento Metro Cable Television. Thank you.